It's Madgarou along with Goo here, and today we're going to talk about Dark God Rhapthorne, or here it's going to be Rhapthorne's True Form. I'm going to be calling him Rap. Great unit, but how does he compare to the other units in Dragon Quest VIII? Stay tuned. Goo! Alright, Dark God Rhapthorne is the last unit from Dragon Quest VIII. It is a boss unit, magic user. Leadership effect is above average, but not the greatest, reducing enemies' SAM resist by 25%. Has its uses, but fairly niche, obviously. Um, First skill, Black Ball. I actually really like this first skill, and this is going to be a unit that I have a lot of likes and then a lot of nags. So it's a very odd unit overall for me to kind of talk about. I like that the MP consumption and the range is pretty good here. 4 range, 46 MP consumption. Inflicts spell damage on one enemy and has a very high chance of confusion. If you have a Baramos, Rhapthorne is a great unit to pair along with Baramos. With the two of them, you can get great damage overall, and just kind of work together. Uh, and on maps that have a high confusion, weakness, Dark Guard Rhapthorne will be picking out units wherever they need to be and start confusing and helping you turn the tide. Second skill, Grand Cross. I really love the range. I love the AoE. Um, the only main problem here is the Zam spell damage is good, but not fantastic. So it will do a lot of damage if there's enemies packed together. But if you're basically attacking a single target, the damage is good, but not Jessica levels of damage to a single unit. So it might nuke weak units, but not as powerful as some of the other units that are out there. So it's a good skill, but it's not a fantastic skill. Falling Stars also falls along the same line because it randomly deals damage to enemies 5 times. If it is a single target, the skill can be actually really, really useful. If it's more than like 2 targets, then it becomes a random number generator on who you're going to damage. This is the nagging part, but it has the ability to increase damage for 3 turns to a unit as well. So it has a really interesting debuff overall. I know why they called this guy a magic user, but to me, he's a damage debuffer and is actually a better debuffer than Dual Magus for the most part, in my mind, because I think it does more great combinations, but Dual Magus has that insane ability of his. Dark Guard Rhapthorne, though, his First Awakening skills to negate any damage once. This sounds absolutely fantastic, but my great problem with this one is Rap is a very slow unit. And because of that, there's a good chance that that first negate damage is actually going to be an AoE skill that is going to damage other units and basically just be wasted due to his low agility. I would have preferred this to have been like third or fifth of his awakenings, have the other ones come up higher because they are a lot more generally useful for awakenings. Second and fourth is whoosh and sap resistance. Third one is recovers HP once the HP goes below 70%. And with its HP, that's a very large window. So this is a fantastic ability. It doesn't heal a great deal of HP compared to others, but it will proc almost always once, unless if like a Jessica gets a hold of him or something and wipes him off the map. So all in all, very very nice and gives 5% spell power. And the last one is MP recovery, which is actually needed for Rhapthorne because you can take a look here at the two main skills that you will be using most likely require over 100 MP, and even at Grand Cross at 10, still would require around 95 MP to use. So that MP recovery is pretty important for Rhapthorne, and I don't like it that it's locked on the very last awakening. So the stats, this is weight 65. I do apologize. I couldn't change it in time. The HP is 1218, which is absolutely huge, along with the defense of 351. So he is not squishy by any means, but having that one dodge will make him mildly annoying in arena, but it's not like a dual magnus that will completely change how you're playing against him. And his wisdom's 430, which means he'll do good damage, but the skills overall don't do fantastic damage, except for possibly falling stars if he can only get one enemy there. And that's the interesting thing with Rhapthorne is that the skills up above here, he has two with the same type of range. So if he can only attack one, falling stars does a lot. Um, if you've got multiple to try to counteract falling stars, Grand Cross will do a decent amount of damage. The only real way to kind of really nullify Rhapthorne's damage is to have a lot of Zam resist units packed together, so you're forced to have falling stars do random damage 5 times, which will limit the damage compared to what Grand Cross normally would do. That's the only way really Rhapthorne can be struggled or can be kind of strangled for massive damage overall for I wouldn't say massive, good damage overall for a unit. So once again, interesting, very good points, but some mild weak points as well. Personally, I think this character is very well balanced except for that first awakening. The agility is really slow at 2 at 95. Once again, this is my biggest issue with it, along with the MP at 458. Uh, Needing that MP recovery for 5 hearts is pretty painful. And so, and with the movement of 2 is actually not that much of a problem because it has a range of 4 plus another spot beyond that as well. So it has pretty good coverage overall. Dark God's Wands is the preferred weapon. Very high positive for Rap is this is a very powerful weapon, custom made for him. This will give him a lot more strength. Just spell power plus 4%. You can get the Dark Meteor Shower, which is now Black Inferno, and Falling Star, which is now Starfall. It gives very powerful overall damage increases with the MP and Wisdom. If you don't get Rhapthorne and you do get Dark God's Wand, then you're just going to try to get as much Wisdom overall and treat it as another wand, Metal Slime wand to get overall. So here's the preferred learned skills. To be honest, the only thing that he really needs is like a blunt or something to lower the attack skills. Maybe if you want, you can also give him paralyze, another paralyze, but he paralyze, sorry, not instead of confuse, just to give him another debuff. But all in all, I wouldn't really worry too much about his preferred learned skills. You're not going to give him another element, personally, because of the fact that honestly, those skills just don't do enough damage, and he's not an insanely high wisdom compared, like he's not like in the 500s to counteract that low overall base skill. Um, if you want to make him a healer too, that would be something interesting. But that's all you're really going to be using for him for skills wise. On the bottom, you can see the damage here. Overall, the falling stars will do more damage if you confine it to a single unit. As you can see here, that is doing around 12, I'd say 1300 damage, while Black Inferno is doing around 1050. Jessica, on the other hand, though, was doing 2,000 and 6,000 damage, but she doesn't have quite the range as Rhapthorne does. So you can see that Jessica is much stronger overall for single, and also has her leadership ability her heroic ability that just pummels the unit to death. While Rhapthorne's more about massive range damage and the ability to put in some debuffs along with set damage. So Pros, cons, pull. Negates any damage on him with his first dupe. Has HP 70% more beginning of a turn, and his ability of having 30% damage up is huge. That's his internal ability, so it gives him a little bit more damage than what the skills do. Um, it's weird. I mean, I like that 30% damage, but kind of wish they would just put that in the skills and give him something else. Um, the massive damage here is that his 2 feats could lead to much higher his non-elemental feat could lead to much higher damage, and Black Inferno, if you capture enough enemies, can actually outdamage Jessica just from that AOE because it can hit so much. But that's more of a how the battlefield looks. From a PvE point, though, he is not a bad unit at all to have with that damage up ability debuff, to especially along with actually Jessica. Teaming them together, you can take off some bosses if you can land that debuff and really nuke them next to zero. Cons: HP is high, but defense is okay. And honestly, the agility is worse than a lot of A units in the game, even with 10 extra levels. And with that agility being so slow, you can use that to your advantage a bit because of his movement only being 2. But his MP is a significant issue, and there's not really much else to say about it unless if you fully max out Rap. And I'm not sure he is not worth maxing out compared to, like, say, Jessica. Well, I pulled no. Um, Jessica and Dual Magnus are a very large. A very good step. I'm not going to say very large. Very good step above Dark God Rhapthorne. He is, though, a great unit. I will do the paid pull, and I will obviously be using my tickets. I would like to have a Rhapthorne. I'm not even sure I care about the one heart. I really, really, really just want Starfall. I can sense and see a use for Starfall for PvE for a lot of potential events. So that is really the main draw for me on Rhapthorne. My Baramos is not super, super strong, so I'm not hoping for that. But if you have a very strong Baramos through the polls, all the polls that you've possibly have done, or if you've gotten lucky or really like Baramos, Kage, that's definitely you. Rhapthorne is definitely a unit that is going to help out Baramos be very strong, or any unit that likes to have confused enemies. But Baramos's abilities and upgrades really focuses on that confuse, and Rhapthorne does a very good job of confusing weak units against confuse. So, as I say, he's got great uses, but has those nags along with him that, especially with a banner with Jessica and Dual Magus going on along him, it's just really hard to advise people to pull. If you've got a lot of Jessicas and you've got a lot of Dual Magus and still have stuff to spend, then fine, Rhapthorne is a good unit. But and compared to what's coming out there, I'd say Rhapthorne's a little better than what's coming out for the next couple of months, even. Um, he doesn't. Well, actually, depending on if you like bosses, some bosses I really like. Some bosses I'm okay with. This is a boss that I wasn't too drawn into compared to like Zoma, but I'm also a lot older, so Zoma really has a place in my heart, or soul, or I don't know. All in all, though, good unit, but there's much better units out there. The A unit is Geyser. Very interesting unit. Has one of the A units that has much more agility than Rap. Its HP and defense are also actually fairly high for an A unit. and would actually scale almost exactly to Rhapthorne as well if he had another 10 stats. The MP is fairly low, but for the amount of MP, but the skills it has use such little MP that this is almost nearly infinite MP unless if you go on Cursed Heat Raids continuously. Its attack at 410 is very nice for level 110. Its movement is 2 and wisdom's 147, which really doesn't bother me a bit. Its leadership effect is increase the power of Nature Sizz by 10%. Not good at all. Flash Heat, Curse Cut, and Cursed Heat Raid is a very interesting overall set. Heavy Sizz, obviously. The first one is all around AoE for 105% Sizz physical damage to all enemies. This HP and defense combination for an A unit is actually fairly good, and with that attack, even though 105 is fairly low, it will do some decent damage, especially if they're weak against Sizz. Curse Cut does a pretty large amount of cursing for that AoE. I'm not going to use it a great deal, but it's a pretty good range overall. And the Cursed Heat Raid is the thing that you're going to be using the most. It's a random 55% physical damage 4 times and cursing very rarely. So if units are weak to curse or Sizz, this is a actually fairly decent A unit. One of the things that I really like about it is that the First Awakening will give you attack power and movement power increase for 1 turn. So it will allow you to get it out into the field. And its agility, as I say, is average. And for an A unit, it's a little above average. But it's pretty much on the average side. And for its HP and defense, along with good attack, I'm actually pretty okay with that First Awakening overall because it will allow you to move farther with its range ability. It can actually get to the field pretty quickly, especially as I say, not a lot of A units, especially with that HP and defense combination, have that ability. On the last one, the third and fifth awakening gives 5% curse increase rate, which is very, very nice as well. And Geyser's actually a pretty good A unit because it focuses on curse and does it very well. And with that range overall, I think it's a pretty good unit. So all in all, this is a fairly decent banner, but I still would say focus on Jessica's and Dual Megas first. And personally, I hope to get lucky to get both Dark Guard, Rhapthorne, and a Geyser, but I may actually use a gold ticket on Geyser because of the ability for the cursing. But once again, the one weakness is the third and the fifth awakenings. Really, what you're going for, and I know I'm not going to be able to get that right off the bat. So, I hope you guys enjoy. Stay safe, and I will see you guys later. Goodbye.